how should we split up our marketing budget across different channels and platforms? And so that was something we discussed today with a client about, should we focus on just Google AdWords? Should be there, like, how do you kind of put together your strategy as far as where you're going to put your money in, if you're boosting Facebook posts or YouTube shorts or wherever you're kind of wanting to get at people?
Great. It's a great question. Again, I mean, in an ideal world, you might be able to do a variety of different things. I think the first step you have to ask yourself is, what is your current budget? Not the budget you hope to be able to spend, but what is your current budget? And then asking yourself, what is the best place to put that budget? Like, where are you going to get the best return on that budget right now? For some people that are really tapping out, like Google, they feel like they're doing a really good job and they're getting really good return on Google, but they're not running out of budget, because Google will tell you if your budget is running out during the middle of the day. Let's say you're doing a really good job with Google, you're not running out of budget, but you still have additional money to spend. That might be an indication where you might be able to take some additional budget and go to someplace like Meta and run some ads over there, or TikTok or something like that. But I always tell people, make sure you're pick the platform that makes the most sense for you, is going to give you the best return, and make sure you're doing that well first. Because if you're not doing that well, it doesn't make sense to continue to spread money over more things. And then reality is, all these things take a certain amount of money to, take a certain amount of money to be beneficial. So if you spread your budget too thin, you may find yourself in a situation where nothing seems to be working, but it's not because the platforms you're using or the structure of your ads or anything like that. It's just like you're not giving them enough money to work. Certain types of Meta ads typically require at least $10 a day to have an effectiveness. So that's $300 a month right there. So if you don't have $300 a month, I wouldn't advise running those types of ads, because you're not giving it enough budget to be effective. So you may try to run them on $5 a day or whatever the case may be. They don't prove to be effective, and you say, oh, that doesn't work, where the reality is you just didn't give those ads enough budget to work.
Yeah, I think especially with bigger companies, it's one of those things where you can have the budget to kind of move those things around and say, hey, I want to, obviously, having learned from you and being a part of this, I think Google AdWords are very important if you have the budget to kind of put that, if you actually have like a marketing budget to kind of go and like, hey, these are the keywords I want to hit. But I think if a lot of times there might be guys out there with, I've only got $25 a month, then it might be something where, okay, let's figure out what works best. Like, look at your organic posts. If you've been posting on social media, figure out, I want to post this one for maybe a few days and just kind of see what kind of response I get at a lower amount. So there is different ways to kind of go about your budget, but obviously it's understanding how much do I have to spend every month, because if all of a sudden you have $200-300, then maybe investigate how Google Analytics work and how to do the Google AdWords, because obviously Google is going to be the biggest search engine. So people are looking for something, you can get in front of them. But again, if you don't have that much, focusing on reels and trying to boost stuff out to people that don't already follow you might be the best agenda for you to try.
Well, and I always try to say to people too, like with AdWords, even if you're in a tight community, which not a huge population, so I'm using the smallest case scenario, let's say for Google AdWords, you're still going to want to spend at least $10 a day on Google AdWords. So if you look at that, think about at the bare minimum, even in a small community with, you're not going to, $300 a month is the minimum, technically you're going to be able to spend to get Google AdWords. So to me, in Facebook, I would look at it very similarly. So if you don't have that budget to put towards it, to your point, you might be better off investing some time into things like Instagram Reels or TikTok, that you could try to get some traction organically until maybe you have some budget. Because ideally, if you spend too little budget in those platforms, you're not going to get good results. And you may come away thinking that the reason you're not getting good results is because the platforms don't work, when the reality is you just don't have enough budget.